welcome to Real Talk, episode 40. I'm Todd, this is AJ.
Yo.
Coming right back at you from the hallowed studio of Real Talk.
That was beautiful. I have nothing
I
to say.
used to read a book. So,
I used to read a book.
welcome, in all seriousness, to episode 40. It feels like it's not even here yet.
you betcha.
So,
Episode 40. What a crazy thing.
what a ride.
It has
We're
been,
still
dude.
here.
It's
Thank God.
still here. Who would have thought?
I sure wouldn't have.
We actually,
day.
it's funny that we mentioned this because earlier we were actually watching older stuff, and during like the first recording of the first episode, we weren't sure if this was going to be a one-time deal or an ongoing thing, and here we are. It's almost a year later.
Is it weird that sometimes every week I'm like, what is this the last one? Because
I get that.
I talked
feeling
last
sometimes.
episode last week
Mm-hmm.
about being sometimes a pessimist,
Yeah.
which isn't funny, and I don't know why I'm laughing about it. But
Me either.
thinking about last week. But because of that, I think that carries into thinking that it could be the last one at any time.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know what? Because you need the practice. Last week, if you recall,
Mhm.
do you remember?
I remember.
You did the end that at my end spiel that I usually do. So you know what? Why don't you do the beginning spiel about real
Ooh,
talk?
man, what is Real Talk? Well, if this is your
Just think
first
about
time
last week.
watching.
Yeah.
What is Real Talk, you may ask? If this is your first time watching, Real Talk is an opportunity for you guys to ask us questions. We actually do this twice a week. We do these pre-recorded ones that are numbered. It's
No, you're doing it good.
I
It's
know.
better than ever.
I know.
Sorry.
Dang,
Now you see what you do to me.
It's tough. I get it. I'm starting to understand this more and more.
Everybody
Anyways,
gets
it's a
kicked
question. Ask us questions about God, the Bible, life. You can ask us questions about us, and then I don't know how you do this. It's so incredible. And then you can also ask us questions in real time on Thursdays at 9 p.m. for our Real Talk live sessions. So yeah, there would be a link above. It's www.theremnant.life/real-talk. It's open all the time. It's anonymous. You can type in your question and we'll answer on here or a live session. We also have another link above. It's www.theremnant.life/give. And that's to donate to this ministry. If it's blessed you in any way, please, even just as little as $1 helps. So thank you guys. Anyways,
Tax deductible.
how do we usually start Real Talk? We start Real Talk by asking how our weeks have been. So Todd, how has your week been?
Feeling comfortable going first. This is weird.
Uh-huh.
Oh, trying to flip the script, huh?
Weird.
It's me, EJ. Anyway, how's things? Things have been okay. Looking back on, we did watch some. I don't know if it's been released by now or not, but it may have.
Mm-hmm.
We had a blooper reel go out. If it hasn't been released yet, it's going to be soon.
Mm-hmm.
We've said it for a long time, but it's really happening, and it's filmed. Grant, one of our other awesome production guys, he's a perfectionist, so he's messing with it, but he put it together. And watching that was kind of weird. We watched it several times. It's still funny to me.
Oh, it's hilarious.
But it's also crazy how far we've come, and what I think we talked about this when we started this. I remember that day because we were sitting around like, it'd be cool, because people don't believe this. I remember having a conversation in the living room, at some point we're like, I wish people could be in on these conversations. Then we were here at the church and we're like, you know what? We should just do that. We should just film it. That'd be awesome. Like, yeah. And we did it that day. And Grant's like, hey, blah, blah, blah. We've got a backdrop.
Mm-hmm.
So we went and did it. And if you haven't seen it, you're going to. It's pretty cool to see where it came from. And to think that, because in that, I think it references the first and second episode, at least.
Yeah.
Second, third, fourth. Honestly, I bet that was done at like episode, I don't even know. Who knows? Probably 18 or less. Maybe probably 10.
Probably, yeah. It was
And,
really
so
early
just kind
on.
of watching it was really cool and brings back memories. And
Oh, it's super surreal.
I'm really thankful for where we've come from, and just to be able to do this. And man, it's exciting and cool and fun. And it's one of those moments we've talked about where you kind of just sit back and go, man, God, like, you did this.
Yep.
We started with an idea and you turned it into something crazy. So really
No
thankful
kidding,
for
man,
that.
For real. I'm so thankful too. It's such a surreal thing to go back and watch those, because something that started off, and I've said it before, but started off as just an idea that turned into, let's just try to do it and see how it goes. And then, the longer we did it, man, just things started becoming better. We started. I don't want to say didn't take it more serious, but we just were like, man, like this is blessing people. Like we gotta invest. That's a better word. We started
like
to
that.
really invest,
Yeah.
and here we are now, and we've met some awesome people through it, and just I would have never, reflecting now back then, that AJ, he would have never thought that we'd have people come to our church just from only seeing Real Talk or meeting people from outside of
That's so true,
Indiana's borders or anything. Like
That's
would
so
have
true.
never thought about it. So what a crazy thing God's done with it. Man, it's so cool.
That's so true too. I really like that because there are probably people that kind of just pass through, see little parts of it, and it seems silly at times, which it is, but it's been really fruitful. And I know to know that our church has grown in some ways
Yes.
because of that, and also just encouraging. There are people, we have brothers and sisters, we've always had them, but we know from other churches that we know really well now, just through Real Talk.
That's right.
Which is crazy.
It
So
gave them a platform to speak.
yeah, so shout out to the B to the Ani.
Hey,
See what I did there?
nice.
So she's, someone we met on there. Just a lot of cool people. The Bears.
Mhm.
But even these
Crawfish.
episodes, Crawfish, love that guy. He's probably mad about the crawfish. So anyway,
He's never
that's
said anything negative about it.
well, to our faces. Just kidding. So yeah, that was part of my day, and yeah, just thankful, man. Really, really blessed to get to know you and do this with you. Couldn't imagine doing it with anyone else.
Thanks,
so
dude. Man,
appreciate
that,
you.
That really means a lot for real. I know it doesn't
didn't
seem
sound-
genuine,
Yeah, no,
but I
I get
really
it.
mean it.
Yeah. So who knew, right? So how's your week been?
Well, done a lot of pondering this past week.
It's been a long week.
I know last week I mentioned Daniel and the end times. And I'm telling you, man, it's as if I'm in the same day because it's still on my mind just as fresh as it was last week.
That's so weird.
Yeah, man. And I haven't had the opportunity to do a whole lot of research since then. But
Yeah.
I hope people catch on this pun.
Hey, we'll find out.
Yeah, we will. But
Comment below if you get it.
yeah, for real, because
That's
this
kind of a
this
cool
is
mystery.
hilarious. That is a good mystery.
Yeah.
Nice. I like that we did that. Comment, please. Just the idea of, I guess a question I'm asking myself right now is like, what would you do in that moment? That once that moment of realization hit, like how would you react? What would you do, tangibly? Because I know for me, like,
You're just talking about if like Christ came back right now.
or just even the idea of we don't even, I guess, to make it more broad, not even specifically about the end times, but just make it a broader topic. Like tomorrow, you say this a lot, even when you're preaching. Tomorrow's never promised. So
It's
like,
terrifying.
yes. So like, what do we do in the moments? Like when we realize that, when you take a step back in life and you take that moment and go, wow, like you're right, tomorrow is not promised. Like, what do you think about? What is important? And for me, that's what I'm thinking right now. I'm processing it out loud. I don't know about you, but like,
Well, I don't know if I mentioned it on Real Talk, but a couple weeks ago, I was driving home late at night, and I know what people are going to think. We all have these close calls, and this was not a close call. Like, I was driving, it was stupid. I looked down, I looked back up, and I was on an unfamiliar road, and the road took a 90-degree turn. And, I mean, man, by the time I looked up, I was probably 15 feet from this telephone pole going 60 miles an hour. I mean, what seemed, maybe 20, I don't know. And miraculously, and I believe there's a little bit to that. I think the Lord definitely has handled me. I was able to avoid it. And then even though my car was out of control, kind of went on two wheels for a second, just crazy stuff. That happened, man. I think I told you that. I said I had this weird thing of, oh my gosh, this is it. I still can get uncomfortable thinking about that moment of looking down and looking up and seeing that and going, there's nothing I can do. Like if I would have just tried to stop, if I had tried to just stop, it wouldn't have happened. So I just kind of had to swerve. And if another car had been coming, because I was on all over, and it was foolish on my part, but that moment happened, and it meant something. I talked to you about that. Yeah, I don't know. It makes you aware of one of the things I think sometimes in relation to that question, I don't know about you, is how much time do I waste? And I'm not talking about the time, probably not what people think. I don't mean like, I waste time on YouTube or whatever. I'm talking about just enjoying life, not enjoying what God has given me. You focus on so much on what I don't have, or so much on problems or situations or failed relationships or all these things that you just miss out on the blessing that is life.
That's
You
so
know?
good, man.
At least me. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I agree. I think for me, I get wrapped up in the garbage.
Mm,
And what I mean by garbage is I get wrapped up in like the negativity of what my own mind is trying to tell me. You know, it's so easy. Even with and I'm still it's crazy to me because I forget how much of a new believer I still am. Because I am. And but even then, I know I've done a lot of growing and a lot of maturing in my faith, but even then it's still so easy now to get caught up in the negativity of life. And you know, you talk about the enemy and how, you know, the enemy's just a roaring lion. Wait, not roaring lion.
yeah.
Or does it say roaring
Yeah.
lion? I don't remember.
We're in line. Yeah.
Yep.
Waiting to devour. Yeah.
That's right, waiting to
Prowling
devour.
lion, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it makes so much sense when you think about that, because every day you wake up, it is a battle, and there's days where I choose not to fight that battle, and when I do, that's when it gets bad. That's when I think that's when that time is wasted, because the enemy is sitting there laughing, holding me back, and man, it's surreal. You know, the smallest things can be like that garbage I was talking about. The smallest things can just stop you from being where you should be or where you should go, you know, and yeah, it's just super surreal. So when I think about times like that, you know, what truly matters, man. I think those are moments where I have, like here, you know, when we're at church on Sunday and I see all these people standing around, you know, and they're worshiping, you know, God. I'm like, this is the moment I'm talking about. Like, this is what's most important.
Mm.
And it's so crazy because you can get caught up in a moment like that, and this is where the challenge comes. As soon as you walk out of those doors and you go for the rest of the week, how many times do you have those moments? Because I feel like you can have those moments every day, but you just have to be in the spirit to do so, and we don't.
Mm.
So that's just the challenge for me. But so that's what's on my mind. Like,
It's powerful, man. Yeah, I was thinking, I don't know, kind of maybe we ought to challenge ourselves to just live out of that and live every day. You know, it sounds so cliche because, which by the way, I think sometimes cliches, there's a reason they're cliche, because
is it true?
they're questions that haunt us as humans that we think about a lot, and but maybe we don't actually do anything about. So like the idea of like live every day, you know, on fire like it's your last or whatever. We hear that a lot. Well, there's a reason we need to be reminded, and you know, what would it be like for us to just, even the two of us, hold each other accountable and challenge each other? Hey, you know what? For the next 4 days, maybe you can't even go a week. We're just gonna live it. You know, enjoy life and quit worrying and really do what God said. I think that all the time. What if I actually just chose to do what He said?
Amen, dude.
You know,
Like,
when it comes to even worry, you know, He says worry not, and because a lot of times worry is what is your joy killer, right? It's your life killer kind of.
oh yeah, you find yourself. Right. I know for me, like I find myself just the everyday stressors of life literally consume me.
That's, yeah, I get it. Same here.
Because
see, for me, sometimes not even the everyday stresses. It's the stresses of what could be. The worry of what could be. Yeah.
And the could be's range so far. Like there's so many different things of what could be, and so then you find yourself sitting there not doing anything. You're not doing anything because you're sitting there just thinking about all the possible things that could happen. It's crazy, man. But I feel so convicted so much, and honestly, I don't even know if I can say convicted. I probably feel more condemned than I do convicted because I haven't made very many changes. But that time when you told me, like, dude, just be a maniac for Jesus, and I said, all right, and I did it. And that was some of the most amazing growth I've had in my walk, was because I literally, every day I made that effort, and every day was special in a way, no matter what it was. Something happened that pushed me farther, well, not farther, but closer to God. Like,
reminds me, dude, of Killer for the Kingdom. Like, it sounds ridiculous, but
that's right. I woke up every day going, yeah, I'm a killer for the kingdom. Man.
Yeah.
You know,
we kind of talked about that. Like, some of you are like, this sounds crazy. Because at first I was like, we should make a shirt that says Killer for the Kingdom. And then AJ's like, that's murder. I'm like, good call. So he said killer with an A. Because I like the idea of that, right? Like being, you know, in sports and stuff, that dude's a killer. Like, he goes out. He puts everything he can towards this goal. And like, you know, maybe, who would love a shirt that said Killer for the Kingdom? We may make
comment.
Those. If you want one, comment below. That may be a fundraiser even for a real talk. But that mindset is kind of what we're talking about.
That's
right. Of, man, just waking up and saying, man, I'm just gonna go at it and live it. So yeah, that's cool.
Yep. How real is it? If it's real, man,
it's all real.
I'm not living like it. could be doing better. But anyways,
But hey, thank God for grace, right? And the fact that
amen, dude. That's so good.
he's so
too.
patient with us right where we're at. And I don't think he's mad at us that we don't do that. I think it's more like a father that's saying, "Why are you afraid?" You know, we just talked about that last week or 2 weeks ago in service in Wind and Waves. You go check it out; should be up. But you know, the idea that in that sermon, the idea that Jesus just said, "Why are you afraid? You know, where's your faith? Right, I'm right here." Or when he just said, "Don't be afraid. Here I am." Like that's such a beautiful thing. I'm right here. That's like life, right? I think he does that to us. Like, hey, don't need to worry. I'm right here. I got this. So that's cool.
So good.
Moving on up.
That's right. So we actually have some questions. So I don't know if I guess they can be considered questions, but also kind of topical that we're going to discuss for you guys. Feel free to also, I hope you guys interact with us because this is a good interaction episode. We've asked them to interact with the shirt idea.
I really like
the inside joke that we've continuously talked about. See if you guys can catch on to it. Comment if you do. And also,
we should give a prize if they figure it out.
Oh, that's a great idea. Yes. Figure it out. Get a prize. Yeah, and also feel free to just kind of start a dialogue with us about any of these topics we're about to discuss, whether it's, further questions or just your thoughts, and we'll definitely get back to you. Let's see. So I guess we'll start off with something because we actually just mentioned grace. What does radical grace and radical love look like?
For a second, my mind went blank. Okay, what does radical grace and radical love look like?
Yes.
I like that people ask that. So to me, I don't think there's a set definition for this. Except I'll say that radical grace and radical love is the kind of grace and love that Christ talks about and that God gives and demands of his followers. So what is radical? Radical means it doesn't make sense to me in this sense. So radical grace is offering grace to the things in this life that don't make sense. You know, when you hear stories about, I always remember this, there was a story about a young guy that murdered a lady's son. And she went and visited him in prison over and over and over. And when he got out, she had a party for him. And he knows the Lord now and is a productive, member. And like, it makes me want to cry thinking about it. Like, you can find the video online. Man, I'm not saying everyone should do it, but what a beautiful thing.
Yes.
Right? Like, to pardon the unpardonable, to forgive the unforgivable, to offer grace when it doesn't make sense. That's it. And I think tied in, you cannot give radical grace without radical love.
Nope.
Because grace is fueled by love.
That's
right? I mean, it is. When we forgive, and what is grace? It is merit, a position. It is a position of honor that is not earned, right? It's giving someone something they don't earn. So in Christianity, I think that's what it means to me. It means looking at the example that Christ has and what he's done in my life. And you and I have talked about this a lot. I think 5 years ago, there were things in my heart that I don't know if I could forgive. 6, 7 years ago, there were. I had an area, I still remember. I had a thing that I was like, this is unpardonable. And now, because of being humbled and things I've learned in my own life, I'm going, we're all one foolish decision away from something horrible. So I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know what your thoughts are, but that's kind of my view.
I've got nothing to add, man. That's just, you're right. Hit the nail on the head. That's just I got nothing to add. That is awesome.
Okay, well, I will now ask you one. For a new believer, this is the one you did. Is it more important to read the Old Testament or New Testament? It's actually perfect.
Yeah, because for me I haven't been a Christian for a super long time. So, first off, when I was first becoming a Christian, just reading the Bible in general was really a struggle for me, and that proved to be a challenge. Because I didn't even know where to start. I was like, should I start from the beginning? So I actually asked him. He said, "Why don't you read Romans?" So I said, "Okay," which should be a New Testament book, correct? Okay, I want to make sure I'm not a crazy person.
Yeah, you are correct.
Okay, good.
Trust yourself. You know this.
You're right. I should have.
Did I tell you to do that before John even?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, you said read Romans. I said okay. So I read Romans, and it was good because I think I'm surprised because like you said, you probably would have said John because it's the Gospels. I would definitely start with the Gospels because part of this faith is knowing Jesus, and loving like Jesus. That's kind of the basis of it, and that just gives you specific examples of how he lived and how we should try to live like him. So that's Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John. Starting in there, I think that'd be probably the most important, just so you can see how our King lived, man.
It's good. Yeah, I think they're both equally important. It's all the Bible, and the truth is, people, which I know that's what you're saying too, but I just always like to stress that. I used to think they were separate when I became a Christian. People was like, "Oh, I get it. This is in here, but it's not really as important in the Old Testament." And now I look at it; it's one story. It's one large story of God's interaction with His creation, and how, in the journey of Him bringing them back home to Himself. So I don't think you can go wrong starting anywhere. However, if someone asks me, or someone comes in the Lord, I agree with you completely. I start them in one of the Gospels, and then you read first Corinthians or Romans or either way. I don't think any book of the Bible is bad, but as far as a new believer, I think it's probably good to start in the Gospels. Because, like you said, I like the way you said that. It's good to know who our King is and what He's about, and
that's right.
And there's something even to me to this day. I think clearly all of this is a beautiful and amazing, and
yes,
as it says, it's a living thing. We're like, it's all good to change us and teach us and convict us, but something about Jesus, man.
That's
when
right.
I go back, when I'm struggling, I go back to the Gospels, because to hear what He says, I don't know how to explain. It's almost refreshing.
I agree, man.
It cuts through a lot of, not the bad stuff, but religion and church sometimes that can get us.
You don't have to guess.
Yeah, he's a lot more blunt than you think, and that's a good thing.
Absolutely.
So, great question.
Awesome. Cool. Man. Ooh, my voice feels like it's going out. Let's see. What is it? How do I know? Okay, so this is an interesting one. How do I know when something is what God wants me to do, or something that Satan is using to distract me?
It's one of those questions that I think if you'd have to almost know more context.
Right.
Well, okay. I'm gonna assume we're not talking about something completely anti-biblical, right? Because sometimes it's like, does God want me to murder? Or it's at the end.
Right.
But I can use an example in my life. So there was a time that football was super important to me. And I actually pursued this as a Christian. I went as high as I could. I played professional. I did arena football for a little while, indoor football, and there was probably a time when I had to ask myself, is this a distract? Like, does God want me to keep pursuing this, or is this, am I done with it? Is the enemy trying to? And I think, I don't know. That's a great question. I think praying and trusting God to show you, but sometimes it's just about pursuing things, and when God closes the door, He closes the door.
That's good.
Anything that becomes so important to you that your identity ends up being tied to it is definitely a concern to me, if that makes sense. So whether that's relationship, job, sports,
it can be
anything, yeah. Yep. And that's a thin line, and it can even be good things, man. You could be
church.
Yes, absolutely agree with you. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. So I hope that answers the question. How do you know? Trust the Spirit, pray about it, and just make sure that it's not becoming the most important thing.
That's right.
Or stopping you from doing the things He for sure wants you to do. Loving people, loving Him, all that kind of stuff.
That's good. Awesome. We got one more.
Oh, my bad.
You're good.
Yeah, I didn't want if you had some bad to it. I didn't want.
Oh, man, you're so good.
I'm not.
I rarely have things to add to your stuff. It's like you're a preacher or something, or a pastor or
whatever. So here we go. This is a good. This is good. I like this because it's real. It's kind of a two-parter. So what is it? Okay, speak good. What does it look like to truly walk in faith and love people when it's hard? What is it to actually walk life out alongside people while they struggle, even though you're struggling? So you might want to break that up into pieces.
Yeah.
What does it look like to truly walk in faith and love people when it's hard? And love them and walk beside them and help them to carry their burdens when you're burdened yourself or you're struggling yourself.
Right. So a lot of what Christianity is that I've learned so far in my walk is that Christianity is not comfortable. And you must do things that are not comfortable. Because I know it's probably happened to everybody at least once in a life. You've seen a situation that is uncomfortable, and you've heard something in like your mind say you should help or you should do this or whatever, and you resist that and you just kind of move on. Whether that's even just like a giving change to a homeless person or something like that is the defining. And to me, that's the defining moment of being a Christian. Is because to me that's the Spirit. Like that's the Spirit convicting you to do something, and what truly defines living out of faith is acting in that moment, trusting the Spirit and going, okay, I know you want me to do this. I have to do this. So to me, that is what walking in faith is living out of your convictions, not ignoring them.
That's good, man.
And when loving people when it's hard, understanding that you're forgiven. And so since you're forgiven, you have to forgive others. Much easier said than done. What is to actually walk life out alongside people while they struggle, even though you're struggling? So this sounds like a control thing. I think you have to give up control. What does that look like? I think that means you have to focus, because what are the two most important things of being a Christian? Love God and love others. In the process of you loving others, God has your back. And he's going to take care of you. And he's going to be faithful. He's going to see that despite your struggles, you're still focusing on others. He's going to bless that. And you have to trust that. Tangibly, what does that look like? Just keep loving people.
Yeah, what does it look like to walk in faith? I agree and love people. When you're loving people when it's hard, you are walking in faith.
That's right.
Because you're doing it when you don't feel like it. And you're doing it when it's not easy. So that's a beautiful thing. Even this question, I think someone who's even asking this question is showing their heart, because that's a beautiful thing to even wonder and to say, how do I do this? I want to do this. How do I do it? Because it's so hard. And, that's the first step, is you're even considering it. And walking by faith is loving them when it's hard. And I think, so that's what I think is cool. What it's like to walk alongside people while they struggle. Even though you're struggling, I agree with you, Kay. I was going to say that. So great point. I think you start with that. Loving God and loving others. And here's the crazy thing. This is true, tangible thing, and it's just backing up your point. A true, tangible, strange thing I've noticed about life, the Christian journey. The more inward focused I am, the more miserable I am. And the more I focus on doing those two things, loving God and loving other people, the smaller my struggles become. And I mean that. I'm not saying that as Christian talk. If you know me, I truly have found that out. Now, does that mean I live it all the time? No. But when I'm walking in mission and I say, I'm focused on your struggles and loving you, mine just seems so small. And I think that ties back with what you said about he's got my back. And I think he knows that. And I think that's us being alive. Those few moments in my life when I've done that, when I have literally said, I'm going to carry your burden. And trust that, God, you're going to carry mine, or this other person, man, I don't know. That's when I feel alive. That's when things seem small. So that's the best answer I have is, keep focusing on those two things when it's hard, and trusting, because trusting him is doing that.
That's right.
To love God and love other people when you are walking through stuff, like, man, that is trusting him. And also having people, tangibly too, that while you're helping, maybe you're helping, I always say Bob with his struggles, that I'm actually talking to you about mine.
That's right.
Right? Because it all goes around.
We're always all loving each other.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's good questions, man. I think these were really good.
Really good episode.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Cool. Well, I think that's about it.
Yeah.
I guess I'll take the end since you did the beginning.
Cool.
So, guys, thank you so much for those of you who have asked questions or continue to just support us by watching, interacting, etc. If you do us a favor, we have a couple things. One, would you like this video right here, episode 40? Like and share it. You would be shocked at how many or how directly the amount of views equates with the amount of shares. We found
so
that.
true.
So you don't know who in your timeline or your life could be blessed by something that happens here. Maybe it's just a laugh, or maybe it's one of these questions speaks to their heart. So just take a second and like the video. And the more likes you get, obviously, the more people see it. Interact with us below. We asked some questions. You want the T-shirt, Kill for the Kingdom? We're serious about it. I want
for
one.
real. Yeah.
Did you figure out the
inside
riddle,
joke?
the inside joke? Yeah, because if you do, we'll give you a prize. I don't know what it is. 3. What else? Up above, you'll see 2 links. He brought it up again. www.theremnant.life/real-talk. ask a question, completely anonymous. We would love for you to do that and keep contributing. We have probably over 900 at this point.
Yeah,
So that's pretty amazing. Or it could be a topic. We also have another link, www.theremnant.life/give. That's just an opportunity. Click on that link for you to support us financially. Guys, we need it. We do. We're not driving jets. We're not driving Corvettes. We're not living in a mansion. It's just going directly back into this ministry. You hit a drop-down box. You can do it from your phone. Drop-down box, real talk. I love what you said. Even $1 is a blessing.
That's right.
So, if this has blessed you in any way, particularly if you don't go to our church and you're outside, we would love to know you're there and help support us in that way. Also, we do go live this Thursday, 9 o'clock on Facebook with Real Talk Live.
Boom.
Pretty crazy, pretty fun, pretty wild. Different vibe than these.
Yes.
But come check that out. I don't think there's anything else.
If
you haven't liked our page, go click The Remnant Church. Hit like, follow, see first.
That's right. That's the order.
Yep. Thank you. Other than that, guys, we appreciate you so much. Hey, thanks, man, for a great episode.
Yeah,
appreciate you. Thank you guys so much. We love you. We hope you have a great night, and God bless you.